Good evening.
Здравствуйте, как ты поживаешь?
Good evening.
All right, I just want to make sure Clay and Matt got the invite. Hey, Debbie. Craig, what's up with your camera?
Are you not seeing me?
No,
Well, that's weird.
says you have no. Oh yeah, Debbie. I was gonna say, did you? I sent you those two emails today. They are two separate things.
Okay.
Did you? I don't know if you saw them.
I was off at 4, so no, I didn't. I think you
Okay.
have two notices that you need me to send out, right? And then
Yeah, there's two notices that need to go out, and then on one of them, there's a SEPA decision that needs to go up to
SEPA.
to the SEPA registry.
Okay.
And the SEPA one needs to go tomorrow if possible. The other ones don't go until next week. The two public hearing notices don't go out until next week. The SEPA notice for the SEPA registry goes out tomorrow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Jason, I'm going to go out and come back in. I can't get this camera to work here.
Okay. No, we lost Jessica too.
I can see Jessica. I can't hear her, but I can see her.
There we go. Okay, I'm here.
I'm going to mute myself because I'm going to call the consultant and make sure they got everything. So hold on one sec.
For some reason, I can't get my camera to work, but I'm here.
The best you've looked all year, Craig. Sorry.
You drive in Pierce County?
No, not at all. I'm a safety driver.
I don't know why my camera isn't on.
All righty.
Todd, you watching the soccer game at 7?
You bet it. You bet. I know you will be.
Yeah. Pre-game starts at 6:30.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably be watching a little bit of the NBA. I don't know, do you get much into the NBA? I know the Sonics aren't here.
Not since the Sonics have left, no.
Yeah.
I don't even like the style that they play anymore, even if the
Oh.
Sonics returned.
Yeah.
I was excited to get to listen to a Mariner game during work until the score, until they couldn't get a hit or couldn't get runs, and yeah.
Yeah, then it goes sideways.
Yes.
Good evening. I have got 6 o'clock. I see Carrie's got her phone on, her microphone.
Carrie?
Don't know if anybody's there.
Carrie Hubler?
There she is.
Hubler? Hubler? Hubler?
I'm here. Sorry.
Going to call the Planning Commission meeting for May 4th, 2022 to order. Could we have the roll call, please?
Chair Sunlum,
Here.
Vice Chair Strauss Boyd sent an email. She's going to be absent tonight. Commissioner Dahl,
Oh, here.
Commissioner Sarver,
Here but unseen.
Commissioner Binion,
Here.
Commissioner Hubler,
Here.
and Commissioner Dole.
Here.
Oh, I'm sorry, city staff, Jason Sullivan, Planning and Building Supervisor,
Here.
and then Debbie McDonald, Planning Commission Clerk here.
And Debbie, also for the record, Matt Covey, I hope I'm saying that, Matt is also here. Matt, you are on mute and your screen's off, so just want to let you know. Oh, now you're back on mute. Don't know what's going on over there. But Matt from LDC, who's our consultant, is also here tonight.
The chair will entertain a motion to excuse Commissioner Strauss Boyd.
So moved.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of excusing her, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and Commissioner Strauss Boyd is excused. At this time, we take a poll for our next meeting, which is set to be June 1st, 2022, and it will be in person, hopefully.
No, it will be in person. The governor's proclamation that allowed for only virtual meetings expires June 1st at 12:01 a.m. So that night, we have to meet in person, and all commissioners who can and need to, should and can be there need to be in person. We will still have the virtual option available for the public and the commissioner if there's, reason for that. So, but yes, we will be, and it will be in the council chambers here at City Hall because we won't be in the new building yet.
Okay.
Jason, is that going to pose a problem since we changed the time back to 6 o'clock?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
We're gonna roll with it for this one meeting, and then we'll just kind of roll with the punches because we're gonna be hopefully in our new building by the July meeting. So we're just gonna roll with the punches and see what happens.
Okay.
Approval of minutes. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
So moved. Moved by Todd, seconded by Brad. Any additions, changes, or corrections? No? Call the question. All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Park Commission report.
Okay, so our meeting 2 weeks ago, we talked about the Midtown Park naming contest. The Historical Society has voted to give a prize of $200 cash plus a membership to the Bonney Lake Historical Society, which is a $25 value, so a total value of $225 for the person that wins the essay naming contest. We still, as of 2 weeks ago, had nobody that had put in any essay. So we really need help from everybody in the community to put it out there and start talking about it. And hopefully we can get people to put we were hoping really to get more out of this, but it seems to not be going as well as we had hoped. The community garden naming had been on our agenda for a couple months. We got that pulled off. They have decided to just put a bench in the community garden in memory of Greg Peters. Sorry, I had a brain fart there for a second. And then we got a presentation from David Wells, our recreation director for the city of Bonney Lake. Special events this summer, we'll have smaller bands at all of our music in the park on Wednesday nights because of the construction at the ball fields. And the ball fields won't be done until September or October now. So that just means less parking area, so they can't have as big of events as they normally would. So that means that there is no Bonney Lake Days this year. And then they are going to leave the boat ramps or the boat launch open to the public. Only city of resident people can use the boat launch. But there is no boat trailer parking for them, so they'll have to figure that out on their own. I think that was it.
Okay.
Question,
Design
please.
commission. Sorry, what?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Reference the community garden. I was contacted by a couple of people that are working up there, and they're having a real hard time with the deer. And if you've been up there, you've noticed they put streamers on wire around the top of the fence because they're under the impression they can't build the fence any higher to keep the deer out. Jason, is that a thing, or can they build it higher than the 6 foot?
It would probably have to be a chain link fence.
Well, they have one around the perimeter now. Problem is the deer don't find that a stopping point because they can jump over it.
How high is it?
Almost it's 6 feet.
Yeah.
But they decided they couldn't build anything up higher, so they just put streamers on wires around the top, hoping to keep them out, and it's not working.
You're on mute, Jason.
I think they got it for 6 feet, but the problem is if they go over 6 feet, they have to get a building permit.
Right, but
So you could do it. They would just have to come in and get a building permit. And then it has to be structurally engineered and everything.
could the council
Maybe,
give them
Craig, talk to them about possibly putting netting from
That-
do like a tube, like a greenhouse style netting over it, but not like the plastic. Maybe they could put like tubes across or something. And
my understanding is that would constitute an extension of the fence.
No, over the gardens themselves.
Oh. Well, I mean, you've got almost a quarter acre there to cover. I don't think they can really do that.
Yeah, at this point, Craig, the only thing they could do is they'd have to file for a building permit. That's the International Building Code.
Could the city council give them a variance?
No, it's the requirement of the International Building Code.
Democracy strikes again.
I know.
I would suggest bringing it to city staff and discussing it with them offline.
Yep.
I think David Wells is the one that oversees all of the community gardens. So talk to David Wells. He's always full of great ideas too. So he might have something up his sleeve that, might be able to work.
Electrify the wires going around the top of the fence, maybe, huh?
Maybe.
Okay.
All right, I'm done.
Jason's like, don't tell me that.
Yeah, please. Design commission report. We do not have a rep.
I can fill in real quick for Debbie. They had one public hearing or one project presented to them at their last meeting for the stored here expansion, which is an expansion of a self-storage facility there at 214th and 410. And they recommended approval subject to the conditions of approval.
Public comment and concerns. None, it seems. No public meeting. No old or continuing business. New business. SEPA code update.
So for a quick introduction, I'm going to turn it over to Matt with LDC. LDC was the company that did our housing action plan and the company that was selected to do some of the work on the implementation grant. This is just kind of a briefing to kind of get you guys understanding what SEPA is and what we're going to be doing. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Covert. I hope I butcher your last name so many times. I apologize. And Matt Covert. And I do have the presentation up that I can share on my screen, or you can share your screen too, either way. If you share your screen, you'll have control. Okay.
Yep, I can get that up. I've got it up. So, let's see. I get the share screen. There we go. Can you see this?
Yep.
All right. So thanks, Jason, for the introduction. My name is Matt Covert. I'm a senior planner with LDC. I worked on the Bonney Lake Sumner Joint Housing Action Plan a year or two ago, and that led to a lot of really successful initiatives in both cities. But the reason I'm here tonight is to talk about one of the actions that, or one of the groups of actions that City of Bonney Lake is considering taking to implement the Housing Action Plan, and that's updating the city's SEPA code. So 3 things I'm going to cover tonight. Just a review of SEPA, the basics, the very, very abbreviated Cliffs Notes version of SEPA for the Planning Commission, and then give you an overview of the code changes being considered, and then the information that we are going to be preparing and what the next steps are. So just a brief background on SEPA. SEPA is the State Environmental Policy Act, 1971. It was really passed and implemented to encourage surfacing environmental effects of proposed development or proposed planning. This was a time when there were very few jurisdictions really had substantive, anything resembling critical areas regulations. So SEPA was the mechanism by which environmental effects of proposed changes were considered. There's been a lot of legislation since then, from the Growth Management Act and Shoreline Management Act to work that ecology does on runoff to critical areas regulations and best available science that jurisdictions have to comply with. And it's really created a situation where for many types of development, particularly some of the infill, and there's been a lot of exemptions that have been introduced to the law. I'll get to that in a minute. Because most of the impacts that surface during projects are dealt with, mitigated, guarded against via the city's regulations and the other regulations from ecology and so forth. So that leads us into the next point here on SEPA, which is that the rules that implement SEPA, so that's in the administrative code of the state, have been amended many times since they were codified in 1984 to recognize that impacts are mostly regulated under municipal codes rather than SEPA. And so there's been a lot of exemptions that have been introduced and a lot of ways that cities can do sub-area planning, for example, to consider broad impacts of general types of development and reduce duplicative processes and reviews that would occur for SEPA at the project level in some cases. In Bonney Lake Municipal Code, this is codified in 1604 of the Municipal Code. Just to bring this full circle on where this is coming from, the Housing Action Plan that we worked on with the City of Bonney Lake and the City of Sumner in 2020 and 2021, we outlined a bunch of different strategies and actions that the city could consider to address various housing issues. And one of the actions that we identified is improved implementation of SEPA through the municipal code to really take advantage of some of these improvements in process, reductions in redundancies that do not in any way lessen environmental protections. And so, this is about reducing the complexity and the redundancy in local permitting and review to help get housing of the types that we need to see more of into the market faster without reducing environmental protection. So what does the Housing Action Plan say? Well, we identified 2 potential changes that the city could consider. One is to raise SEPA exemption levels for minor new construction projects as allowed through the Washington Administrative Code. The other was to adopt SEPA exemptions for infill for projects covered by the downtown plan. The city is taking that in a slightly different direction through the use of a planned action, which I'll get to, but it gets at the same issue, which is using a broader level environmental review that the city has already conducted to make it so that individual projects that implement that plan don't have to go through a separate project-based SEPA review. Both of these code changes would eliminate duplicative permitting processes and reviews without degrading environmental protections. So the first thing that I mentioned, the minor new construction, this is something that's been raised several times since the exemptions were adopted in the code, most recently in 2013. So there's nearly a decade of practice on this. And what this allowed jurisdictions to do is there's a bunch of these different project types, single-family residential, multifamily, agricultural storage sheds, packing or storage structures, offices, schools, storage buildings, parking facilities, and then just general earthworks, fill or excavation. And these are the categories that you can adopt these flexible thresholds in. And what the code update did was it said that cities can raise the threshold at which projects are exempt from SEPA review up to the proposed the maximum allowed. Up to you don't have to do the maximum, but up to the maximum allowed in the WAC. Jurisdictions that have done this, that have adopted even the maximum, examples abound. These are just 8 of them, but I think by adopting higher flexible thresholds, in fact, the maximum allowable flexible thresholds, Bonney Lake would be not so much the exception to the rule, but sort of moving into the rule, which is that more and more communities, many communities, have adopted higher flexible thresholds for SEPA exemptions. I'll note here that again, modifying SEPA exemptions does not exempt projects from complying with the municipal code to protect the environment. So Bonney Lake has critical areas code, shoreline master program implementation, stormwater, drainage code, wetland buffers, stream buffers, mitigation, traffic mitigation, parking requirements, things that were not in nearly anyone's code when SEPA was passed in 1971, but that protect the environment at the project level. This proposed code amendment would apply citywide. I'll also note here that exemptions don't apply if you're proposing activity on lands covered by water. So that means that if you are proposing to alter a wetland or a stream bed or a body of water of any sort, that the exemption wouldn't apply, and you'd have to go through SEPA, and there'd likely be mitigation under that. So just to put some caveats there around the environmental protection side of this, because we recognize that's important. So that's the first thing. The second thing is this planned action ordinance, and this refers to that element of the housing action plan where we talked about exempting infill development in the downtown area. Well, the city completed an environmental impact statement for the downtown plan. That does sort of a broad level environmental review of potential impacts of development within a defined area of the city. And this is in accordance with state law, which was modified in 2017. That law allows cities to exempt projects from SEPA review through a planned action ordinance when the area has been studied under SEPA. That's that environmental impact statement, and where projects are consistent with the plan. So that means that if the downtown plan said we want to see more mixed-use development, that complies with the with the zoning and dimensional requirements and design requirements and whatever the code has for the downtown area, that any project that implemented that plan and wasn't on land covered by water would be considered exempt at the project level, because that review has already been done at the district, the sub-area level through the downtown plan. This helps reduce redundancies, because when impacts have already been identified under the plan and mitigated for, having SEPA review at the project level is duplicative and frankly unnecessary. And this would again apply only to the downtown plan area. So the exemption levels for minor new construction is citywide. This one is only the downtown plan area. And again, this does not in any way remove environmental protections that are already accounted for under the city's municipal code. Both of these code changes, this gets into the third part of what I'm here to share with you tonight, is what we're going to do that. So in order to get these, to allow these exemptions to proceed, we have to document and show our work on how existing environmental and cultural resource protection requirements under the WAC and under the RCW, the code, the state statute, that we are maintaining those protections. So that means, saying that we've done our homework on raising these infill and exemption levels. We've identified any additional regulations that might need to be adopted into code for environmental and resource protection. That would include things like tribal notification. There's been some changes on that recently, so that'll have to get adopted into the SEPA code as well. But it's really just about producing a technical memo and draft ordinance to show our work on how we're not diminishing protections for either of these things as required under law. So we're going to prepare memoranda for both of these proposed sets of changes: the infill exemption, or the minor new construction flexible threshold exemption, and the planned action threshold exemption. And we're going to show how the proposed ordinance meets the statutory and WAC requirements. And we're also going to talk about examples of other communities that have adopted these types of changes and how this is consistent with the community of practice around SEPA. And then we're going to give a presentation to you all on the findings and the where we're at with the draft ordinance proposing to do that at the July 6th meeting. So that's all I have. Jason, do you have anything to add on this?
Only one thing, and in concert with this work that the consultant's doing, the staff here locally will also be updating the other kind of technical elements of our SEPA code. So we're going to go from having a single chapter to kind of about, I think, 6 or 8 chapters. I sent that over to Matt this morning. Some of it's kind of more procedural stuff, how we do things, and they're kind of just taken right from the state law. But there's a lot of, if you go and read the state law, it's a little confusing. So we're going to bring it into our own code and make it kind of more in English, so it's easier for people to understand. So that's something that we'll be doing at the staff level that will kind of get merged into the last kind of final package.
Any questions on this?
Matt, if you want, any questions for Matt or I?
What would the timeline look like for this?
Currently, the draft ordinance and everything will be presented to the Planning Commission at the July 6th meeting. And then at the August 3rd, there would be a public hearing. And then kind of, depending on when we get done with the Planning Commission and the council and their decisions for August meetings, could be in August, September in front of the City Council.
Thank you. Any questions? We will see it again. Moving on then.
I was going to say, Matt, if you want to hang out for the rest of the meeting, you're more than welcome. If not, you can drop off and then we'll touch base at our next kind of staff meeting.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll touch base with you later, Jason. Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you, Matt.
Bye.
Bye.
For the good of the order, correspondence.
None.
Staff comments.
Just a couple. One is we will be meeting in June 1st here at the City Council. For those who weren't on, I was talking about that earlier. We will be in person starting June 1st in the council chambers. When we get to our new building, we'll move out there, but the June 1st one will be at the City Council chambers. At that meeting, you will have 2 public hearings and a briefing on the scope of the comprehensive plan periodic update scope of work. So there's kind of a big agenda. The 2 public hearings are the mini storage one and the community's facilities and service element related to transportation improvement that we updated. And we'll also give you an updated futures agenda, which there is no change, but just want to make sure you guys are understanding the work for the rest of the year. That's all I have.
And then I have something. I did send out an email today. If you need name tags, most of you, 5 out of the 7 of you, got back to me. Thank you very much. I just need to know how you want it spelled in case you wanted your middle initial in or your surname or whatever. So please just let me know, like I said, about the name tags. And then
Under
also,
Debbie,
I also, yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say Debbie. Under Jessica's, we have to say Jessica parentheses glasses Binion.
Yeah, yeah.
That's her new nickname. I'm just kidding.
I'll go with it.
I'm always impressed by your glasses. That's not meant to be anything other than admiration.
Hey, it's okay. It's my mask. It's like my superhero vibe. It's all good.
Yeah.
Debbie, I'll turn it back over to you.
And then just also in that email was a link to the park naming contest.
Okay.
That's all I had.
What was that icebreaker in England that ended up as Bodie McBodie or something?
Yeah, Bodie McBoderson or something.
Those kind of possibilities.
That would be a rough name. For the next meeting, I don't know. I know I won't be in person. I will be in Utah. My daughter's due date for her first child is May 28th, so I'm leaving May 26th. So I'll be in Utah. But if she's had the baby and she's not, in labor, I can be on the Blue Jeans, so I can come virtual. But if I won't know until that day. For sure,
Nope. Fair enough.
but I'll let you know.
So exciting.
I know. I'm going to be a grandma.
Oh, dear. You're too young.
Well, I get to be a young grandma, so I can enjoy the baby.
Yes. Any commissioner comments? None appearing. Call for adjournment. Move for adjournment, I should say.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Seconded.
One of us is second it.
Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We'll see you 1st of June in person.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Thanks,
Bye.
guys.